All right, MC Eiht, welcome back.
What's cracking?
Kicked up some dust last time.
A little bit.
A little bit. About to do it again here.
Yes, sir.
So first and foremost, which way is west?
Yeah.
This is your first solo album in 10 years?
Yeah, that's about right. About 10 years, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about it. Number one, why the title?
Basically, man, I just wanted to get back to, I felt like, with my opinion, West Coast music was, it was wide open. Everybody was doing everything. And I think like for fans and people across the board, they were, missing the sound of the old, nothing but a G thing feel, or, once upon a time in the projects feel, or boys in the hood feel, or,
right.
Drive by Miss Daisy feel, so I just felt that I wanted to address that by saying which way is west, to get back to letting people know, like, some people might have lost the identity of West Coast music. So I wanted to direct it back to, do people know what the West is?
Right, because you actually had an interesting quote. You said, for a minute, it seemed like all our West Coast veterans were trying to do what everybody else was doing to stay relevant. I understand you got to adapt to the times, but I felt people weren't giving a damn about the originality of the West Coast music.
Well, I just felt like, not to try to signal out, but I just felt like, we were trying to do stuff that everybody else was doing to, adapt to the times, and I'm just one of those people that feel like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You gotta let people know what the foundation of what we brought to the table was. And if we're doing everything else that other rap artists or states or coast are doing, then it kind of loses our identity as far as, veteran cats like Toddy T or Mixmaster Spade or Easy or dudes like that who were in the streets with it, who gave us our identity with West Coast music. And to just forget about that, I thought was kind of fucked up.
Well, because I just interviewed Too Short, right? And you were the only rappers in Oakland.
There was nothing going on outside of us as far as hip hop. When we started that hustle and we were doing that, we were the rappers. There was nobody else. People probably were in the house getting ready to appear or something. You talk to guys like E40. Motherfuckers was trying to get a hold of a Freddie B. Too Short tape. That was something man, I got one. Copy that shit for me, something. I gotta have that.
Yeah.
For real.
Hip hop, if you want to go back to early days of Southern California music, and then Short was from Southern California.
Originally, yeah, he was from South Central. But he moved to Oakland as a kid.
So, in the early days of West Coast music, if you were here, it was Egyptian Lover and Uncle Jam's Army.
Was there anyone before them?
No.
That's it?
No.
Egyptian Lover.
I remember, as far as West Coast rap starting, I remember Egyptian Lover. I remember Uncle Jam's Army. I remember Bobby Jimmy and the Critters,
Right.
I remember that type of shit. We didn't have the Run DMC. We had LA Dream Team. We had Unknown DJ and the Wrecking Crew. That was our sound. But then we had underground heroes like Toddy T and Mixmaster Spade and DJ Pooh and those cats who were making TDK tapes. So our early hip hop was electronic, Electric Kingdom, that type of
Twilight
shit.
22. Yeah, I love that record. I love that.
I did too, because that was our sound,
Yeah.
Mix records, It's Time and shit like that, that was our foundation to me of West Coast music. We didn't have the Treacherous Threes and the Grandmaster Flashes. We didn't have that. So to me, our foundation really started with cats like Toddy T, Mixmaster Spade, and Easy came along, and those dudes set forth the foundation of what was really going on, because we started with the storytelling in music as far as the one times and on the block and trying to sell dope. So that's
Right.
what my early transition of. And then you got cats like Young MC who came, and then Tone Loc.
Well, you got Ice-T.
Ice-T was hip hop to me. Dog in the Wax, You Don't Quit, you know, but he still to me was more street than just hip hop, because his element was street. And then when he came with 6 in the Morning, it just took it to a whole different side.
Yeah.
And like I said, we used to bump Schoolie D over here because that resonated with us, you know what I'm saying? So to me, that was our music. You know, we were getting away from that.
I feel you. Now, you wanted to do a real West Coast album, but you do it with DJ Premier, who's
I went to DJ Premier because Premier is the cat who I've been friends with, and he was the one who came to the table and offered to help me put my record out. I wasn't getting that from nobody else.
Okay.
So that's why I went to, so it wasn't okay, I'm a call my record Which Way Is West, but I'm gonna go do it with an East Coast producer.
Right.
Me and Primo was friends. So it was on that aspect of, he liked what I was doing, so he like, let's put a record out on you. You know, fuck the rest of the bullshit. You know, you a legend, you an icon, you deserve it. So we just went from there. And he never wanted to take away from the direction of it being a West Coast record. You know, of course, Primo is Primo. He can produce whatever. But it specifically, I wanted those type of beats from him to show the versatility of, when people go, which way is West? Oh, it's just gonna be about West Coast, West Coast. But then I wanted those type of beats from Premier so people can see that it was about the lyrics too, not just using him as a figurehead, you know what I'm saying?
Well, Premier is not just a East Coast producer.
Exactly.
He is like the East Coast producer.
Yeah.
If you were to actually, let's just keep it all the way 100. Like, if you were to pick one producer to epitomize the East Coast sound as a whole, Premier is the only name that I could honestly say would go head and shoulders above everyone else.
Exactly.
No disrespect to Marley Marl, no disrespect to, you know, a lot of other producers out there, legendary East Coast dudes, but Premier was the East Coast gritty sample, you know, hear the clicks, loop, like one loop that goes all the way through, no switch ups.
Exactly.
This is the best shit I can make, and you're going to keep hearing this for the entire song, and it's going to work, and you're going to love it.
Definitely. I mean, I've always had respect for Primo's production. Like I said, I don't just look at him as a East Coast producer. To me, he worldwide. Primo's everywhere, man. And like I said, he done stuff for me. He's done stuff to NYG's, to his singer Tory Wolf, to Christina Aguilera, to Biggie, to Jay-Z, to not so.
Everybody.
He's a cat that has his hands in everything. So when we first got together doing the project, and him being executive producers, because I respected him for that. You know what I'm saying? Not just me and him being homies, but he's DJ Premier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real talk.
Absolutely. Who else is on this record?
Oh man, we got Rage on the record, Be Real's on the record, Corrupt, Exhibit, Melee, Dub C, Bumpy Knuckles, Big Mike, CMW. I just basically went out to dudes that I felt I respected and respected me in the same type of aspect, and then some cats that I've worked with already, just to keep the difficulty of trying to put together a project together and trying to run out and grab everybody and who, what, wherever. So, you know, me and Primo just reached out to dudes we have respect for and we feel have respect for us. And once we called them and say, you know, can y'all get down? It was like a no-brainer. So I tried to stick to simplicity with this record. You know what I'm saying?